Hello everyone, my name is Obaid Rehman and I am from tutorial 13, group 95. My group members are Muhammad Uzaifa, Sayyid Bilal and Musafir Hussain. Today we are going to present the topic which relates to the fast fashion and our case study number is 7A. Like, what is case study 7A? Fast fashion contributes over 10% of CO2 gases, which is more than combined aviation and shipping to the environment. What we need to do to change this? Either it is a social issue or is it a profit issue? Like in the era of marketing, where the conventional marketing tool will be replaced by digital marketing tool, production in isolation has been replaced by the globalization. All these shifts in businesses across the globe has bring a lot of opportunities and also the challenges at the same time for the businesses. One of the trend UK market has specifically facing these days, that is the challenge of fast fashion. So moving on to the introduction, like fast fashion explains a consumer behavior with the tend to buy short-term trendy clothes rather to stick with long-term fashion trends. But at the same time, they will definitely go and opt for the cheap clothes, but they are trendy. This gives the businesses an opportunity to boost their profit by maximizing their production cost, by maximizing their production capacity, but not at the cost of sustainability. This research also explains how the business across globe, especially in UK market, can build a healthy balance between profitability and sustainability. This research also recommends 4 practical solutions to British Fashion Council to draw such lines and ethical constraints that the businesses can achieve sustainability and profitability at the same time. This theory explains these concepts by applying stakeholder theory and triple bottom line. Well, moving on to the next slide, which is scope and context. So, fast fashion means quickly made and low price garments. The reason that makes the issue worth examining is that the fast fashion has created considerable environmental and economic concern globally and within the UK. Fast fashion industry provide a lot of opportunities in terms of profit maximization by cutting the cost and increasing the production capacity. This industry also provides a lot of job opportunities all over the world. In this industry, over 300 million people are employed in this various capacity, from which large sector is from the women's sector. At the same time, where it opposes a lot of opportunities, it also opposes a lot of challenges for the industry and the businesses. So, this industry solidly contributes 10% of emission of CO2 gases into the environment. 85% of the textile produced annually end up in UK landfill. So, according to Statista, every year microfiber, which are equal to 50 billions of plastic bottles, are dumped into UK oceans and river. So, this strictly, this study will explain how the challenges can be coped up efficiently by not compromising sustainability and profitability. Moving on to the next slide, which is data sources and data collection. So, in our research, this presentation mainly employs the secondary data collection method to gather evidence on the social and environmental effect of fast fashion. In our research, we mainly use secondary data, and from where we collect this data? What are these data sources? Mainly, these data sources are academic journals, industry reports, government documents, and reputable website as well. Some of the data we collect from databases like Google Scholars, Academia, Research Gate, and we also collect some of the data for this research is from the Guardian, Fashion United UK, and etc. At the last, we then analyze our data by using the content analysis method, which identifies pattern, themes, and trend across sources. So, content analysis provide a comprehensive view of fast fashion and its impact on the environment. as social and environmental impact. Moving on to the next slide, which is theoretical framework. Now I invite Muhammad Zafar to continue. Thank you.
Thanks, Ubaid Rahman. My name is Mohammad Zaf, and I'm going to present Triple Bottom Line. Triple Bottom Line was introduced by Al Kington. It extends traditional financial reporting to include three elements of sustainability, people, planet, and profit. As reported by Earth.org, fast fashion depends on cheap labor frequently, leading to low wages and worker exploitation, particularly in developing nations. TBL assesses how brands can implement fair labor policies, ethical sourcing, and better working conditions without jeopardizing economic growth. Moving on to the planet, as examined by Earth.org, industry activities result in 10% of global emissions, such as water consumption and textile waste. TBL focuses on the necessity of eco-friendly production methods, sustainable supplies, and circular economy and initiatives to reduce environmental harm. Moving on to the profit. According to AGU ETAL, although sustainable practices require initial investment, they can lead to long-term profitability by improving brand image, customer loyalty, and compliance. Strategies like sustainable innovation, rental, and resale models help businesses stay financially stable while reducing environmental impact. Moving on to the next slide, that is stakeholder theory, posits that the interest of every stakeholder should be considered by business rather than focusing solely on shareholders. In the fast fashion industry, key stakeholders include business, consumer, and governments. Businesses, according to AGU fashion brands are under increasing pressure to adopt sustainable business practices. This involves a fundamental shift towards sustainable supply chains, reducing emissions, cutting waste, and improving traceability. Eco-friendly production methods use renewable materials, reduce water use, and limit toxic chemicals. These efforts are no longer optional. As consumers become more eco-conscious, sustainability become a competitive advantage. Moving on to the consumers, consumers are powerful agents of change. Their preferences shape what brands produce, shifting consumer behavior towards slow fashion, which values quality over quantity can reduce environmental impact. Consumer education and awareness are critical. People need to understand the real cost. So moving on to the governments, governments act as the regulatory backbone of the industry. Their role is to ensure that sustainable and ethical standards are enforced. As Dragomir and Dumitru highlights, this includes stricter environmental laws to reduce pollution and resource overuse, incentives for sustainability, like tax breaks for brands investing in green technologies. So, moving on to the next slide, that is analytical tools SWOT analysis to assess the challenges and opportunities in transitioning fast fashion towards sustainability. This study employs SWOT analysis. According to AGU ETAL, sustainable fashion promotes environmental conservation, ethical labor practices, and long-term profitability. Uh, Brands that adopt eco-friendly practices can enhance their reputation. Innovations like recycled fabrics, digital fashion, and circular business models provide competitive advantages in a rapidly evolving industry focused on sustainability. Moving on to the weakness, Ninimeki ETEL examined that despite its benefits, sustainable fashion faces challenges such as higher production cost, supply chain complexities, and consumer price sensitivity. A lack of awareness and skepticism about greenwashing can also hinder widespread adoption and trust in sustainable initiatives. Moving on to the opportunities, AGUETL highlight that growing consumer and regulatory pressure pushes brands towards sustainability. Innovations and circular models like rentals and resale offer new revenue streams while reducing environmental impact. So moving on to the threats, Ninimeki ETL examined that reliance on cheap, disposable clothing remains a barrier to change. Major brands may resist regulation, and economic downturns can limit investment in sustainability. Inconsistent consumer priorities like choosing affordability over ethics also challenge eco-friendly fashion adoption. And moving on to the next slide, that is data analysis. Supply chain issues as well. This slide focused on data analysis related to one of the main causes of fast fashion environmental impact and supply chain issues. According to greenmesh.co.uk, the fast fashion industry heavily depends on fossil fuels throughout its supply chain, accounting for 26% of greenhouse gas emissions by the end of 2025. BBC reported that Inditex saw a 10% rise in transport emissions in 2024, reaching 2.6 million tons of CO2 gases. Similarly, Shein's emissions rose by over 50% due to increased air freight from maritime disruptions. Additionally, according to Earth.org, the fashion industry contributes to 20% of global wastewater, mainly from dyeing and finishing processes, which release toxic chemical into water bodies. So that's my time. I'm going to invite Sayyid Bilal Sakr Buhari for the next slides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zafar. My name is Sayyid Bilal, and I'm going to discuss consumer behavior. The rise of fast fashion has led to a culture where affordability and trendiness are prioritized by customers more than sustainability. Ortho.org in 2025 reported that 54% of buyers throughout the globe rank price as more important than a product environmental friendliness. In addition, consumers are drawn to low prices and frequently style changes. Art.org in 2025 found that in the last 15 years, there has been a 36% in the average number of wear for a garment. This behavior contributes to increased production and waste. Social media platform has accelerated the trend cycle, encouraging rapid consumption and disposal of clothing. This phenomenon, known as micro-trending, pressure consumers to frequently update their wardrobe, leading to excess waste. Consequently, 12.8 million tons of all textiles end up in landfill each year. This culture of disposability undermines sustainable fashion initiatives. And the next slide is about a business model. Fast fashion brand operate on a business model that emphasizes rapid design, production, and distribution cycle to quickly respond to emerging trends. Consequently, a staggering 30% of every cloth made across the globe is never sold. H&M reportedly has over $4.30 billion in unsold inventory. Likewise, British luxury brand Burberry received a criticism for allegedly thrashing 28.6 million pounds worth of finished items rather than selling them at a discount. To maintain low prices and high profit margin, many fast fashion companies rely on exploitative labor practices. It was found by Parliament.uk in 2020 that workers in the UK were often paid as low as a 3 or 4 pounds per hour, which is severe underpayment. Also, according to the modern slavery and exploitation headline, 10% of all cases in 2021 were related to clothing companies. In addition, these workers are subjected to harassment based on gender, low pay, exhausting hours, wage theft, and unsafe working conditions. And the next slide is about regulatory gaps. The forest industry often operate with minimal regulatory oversight concerning environmental standards. For example, in the UK Modern Slavery Act, there is no standard for what establishes satisfactory due to diligence. Moreover, under the Act, UK-based businesses are exempt from disclosing information on the overseas supply chains. This regulatory gap allows for practices that contribute to solution and labor exploitation. The Director of Labor Market Enforcement determined in the 2018 to 19 labor market enforcement strategy that state enforcement agencies were underfunded, inconsistent in their penalty stances, the insufficient cooperative. It allows fashion companies to neglect sustainable practices without facing significant consequences. And the next slide is about a potential solution. The first point is sustainable material products and production. One of the most effective way for the fast fashion industry to lessen its environmental effect is by adopting sustainable material and production method. By decreasing the environmental effect of garment manufacturing, biodegradable fibers such as hemp and linen support the sustainable textile drive. For example, The Guardian 2015 informed that Patagonia has informed an innovative fabric like tensile leoncell in their collection. Additionally, waterless dyeing technology are being integrated by well-known brands such as Adidas and Nike into their production. And the next point is circular business model. As per Dragomir and Dimitru in 2022, fashion brand can reduce waste by implementing circle business models such as clothing, rental, resale, and repair program. For example, Levi's has successfully introduced buyback and repair scheme, extending lifespan to its products. Extended procedure responsible laws already in effect in some countries require manufacturers to take responsibility for post-consumer waste. Now I invite Musawir to continue furthermore.
Thank you, Bilal. My name is Mustafa Hussain, and I will continue. The next point is technology and innovation. Priyadarshini and Prasad 2024 examined that emerging technologies can enhance sustainability within the industry. AI-driven demand forecasting helps brand produce only what is needed, reducing overproductions and unsold stock waste. Blockchain technology improves supply chain transparency by verifying the origins of materials and ensuring ethical labor practices. And other is strict regulations. Governments play a crucial role in enforcing sustainability standards, introducing a carbon tax on fast fashion productions, and would hold brands accountable for emissions. Discouraging excessive waste, UK government 2018 reported that the UK Parliament has proposed sustainability law similar to France anti-waste law, which bans the destruction of unsold clothing. And moving to next slide is short-term and long-term directions. From the above solutions, the two most preferred strategies are: number one is circular business models, resale, rental, and recycling. Number two is extended producer responsibility laws. Thus, following short and long-term goals can be set while adopting circular business models and regulatory frameworks to help the fast fashion industry move toward a more sustainable and profitable future. Short term duration is 0 to 3 years, and long term is 5 to 10 years. Moving to next slide is conclusion. And fast fashion sector remains a major contributor to environmental degradation, resulting in over 10% of global carbon dioxide emissions, exceeding the combined rate for the shipping and aviation sector, as it is dependent on water intensive production, fossil fuels, and exploitative labor practices. Its business model becomes unsustainable. The problem is both social and economic, driven by consumer demand for cheap, trendy clothing and brands, profit driven strategies that encourage unconsumptions. Using the TBL and stakeholder theory, this analysis emphasizes that a shift is required for sustainable production, responsible consumer behavior, and stronger regulatory oversights. Moving to next slide is recommendation. There are four recommendations. Circular economy strategies, a shift towards circular fashion models such as rental, resale, repair, and recycling can significantly reduce textile waste and emissions. Government should introduce mandatory EPR laws requiring brands to manage post-consumer waste. Uh, and other is stricter environmental laws. Government must implement stricter environmental laws to hold fashion brands accountable for their carbon footprint. Policies such as carbon taxation on high emission fashion production, mandatory sustainability reporting, and supply chain transparency laws will encourage brands to adopt eco-friendly practices. And other is creating consumer awareness. Uh, uh, Educational campaigns should highlight the negative effects of disposable fashion, encouraging people to prioritize quality for quantity. Retailers can offer incentives such as discounts for recycled clothing or loyalty programs and reward sustainable purchasing. And other is use of technology for sustainable innovation. Artificial intelligence and blockchain can help brands optimize production, reduce overstock, and track supply chain ethics. AI-driven demand forecasting minimizes unsold inventory, reducing waste. Government should support fashion techniques startups developing biodegradable textiles and low impact dyeing process. And there are some references. Our presentation is over. Thank you very much.